And not to be a spokesperson here, but it kind of worked, you know? Look at me. That's where I started. And so welcome back to my channel. I am Stacy. Today I have part 2 of how I managed to lose the weight. If you have not seen part 1, I'll have it linked so you can go check that out. Gives you a little background history of myself and how I managed to put on the weight. And this, of course, is the nitty-gritty part 2, the one you've all been waiting for. It has finally arrived. But before we get into it, I do want to put out a little trigger warning like the first video. So, like the first video, I'm going to be talking about how I was fat. I'm going to say I was fat. I was not pleased with the way I looked. I was disgusted with myself. Things of that nature. So if terminology like that are things you don't like, this is not going to be the video for you. Also, I want to put out a disclaimer. I am not a nutritionist, a health expert, a dietitianist. I know nothing about nothing. I am only sharing what I did and steps I took, things I am currently doing that are working for me personally. That does not mean they will work for you, but maybe they will, maybe they won't. So do with the information as you will. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty aspect of this, I know I hear you screaming, what are you doing? But I do want to recap some things just to give you a summary of part 1. I've always been fat since a teenager. I've not liked it at any point in my life. I have had a very low self-esteem. I have allowed the fatness to control certain aspects of my life. And what I mean by that is I let it restricted me from doing things such as I have tried diets. I have tried diet pills. I had the Vaser liposelection. Like I said, I've had the staple in the ear. I've had the hypnosis. Done everything under the sun. Remember? So, one thing that I really didn't go deep into in part 1, which you think I would have, being that the name of part 1 was how did you put on the weight, I didn't really talk about it that much. I realized afterwards. I think you got the point that basically my lack of exercising is how I gained weight over the years. But I did just want to go in again about this. I am not a very heavily food influenced person. Food is not a big motivator for me. It's not something I am looking forward to all the time, wanting to try out new flavors. And nothing against those people that are like that. Fantastic for you. It's just, you know, food is food for me. I'm not an emotional eater or even an overeater. People that know me in my daily life have commented on the fact that I don't eat a lot. It's the fact that for me, I am eating things and they may not be the greatest things like pastas and cereals and breads and, you know, carbs. It may not be the greatest thing under the sun, things I am eating, but it's not like I'm overeating these things. It's just I'm not exercising to put off the calories I'm putting in. And it took forever, 30 years, well, 29, to figure it out. Like, hey girl, you need to exercise. And what finally kind of done that for me is when I was, remember in part 1, I was talking about how I have lost weight here and there. And there was one time when I went from 250 to 270 and I lost like 30 pounds in between all that. That time, I really focused on exercising. Like I said, I have not been a diet person or, diet. What is the word? I don't log my calories or anything, count my calories. That's the word I'm looking for. I don't count calories. I don't restrict myself, any of that, because it would be pointless for me because I am such a picky eater that limiting myself is insane because I already don't eat a lot of things. And counting calories is not going to work for me. I've tried it in the past and it just doesn't work for me. If it works for you, fantastic. Just does not work for me. So when I was doing the weight loss to start with, back when I was in the 250 to the 270 range, I was doing the DDP yoga like I had mentioned in part 1. Also, I was doing a PT 24/7, if you have not heard of it. I like boxing. I don't know why. I've never had an actual boxing class. Let me know if that's something. I don't know how I would video that at this time. But I've been thinking about this. A potential video series maybe of me doing things that I wouldn't originally allowed myself to do when I was a bigger size. Anyway, back into it. I've always been interested with boxing, so I think. And so, Billy Banks, I am here for you. Come at me. And so I was doing that as well. Loved it. And I did lose the 30 pounds, like I said. So I knew exercising, it was like a light bulb finally went off and was like, hey, that worked. But then, like I said, I got to that point where I just could not lose anything else, and it got very disappointing for me, and it was really discouraging because I was still putting in effort, not like I should have, let's be for real here, but it just, when things stopped and quit being easy, I gave up. I didn't really push myself that extra mile. So, let's finally get into the turning point. January 8th of 2019. Well, no. Remember part 1, April, I believe it was, April of 2018, I was 297? Is that what I said? 297? Yeah. So from April to January 1st, I got down to 286. So January 8th of 2019, I was 286 pounds and 29 years old. If you watched part 1, you realized the turning point, what set everything in motion. I told you I went in there that night and started working out. Now, you're about to see my notes. They're a little crazy. They're a little Unabomber. Get over it. But these are my notes. I told you, I wrote everything down to keep me accountable. I knew that I was starting this and I needed something to keep me accountable. Sorry if you can hear my dog drinking water in the background. But I needed to keep myself accountable. I needed a record, something visual to see when I was actually working out, because I have such a bad memory. I cannot, it's literally Wednesday. I can't remember if I worked out yesterday, Tuesday. So, yeah, that January 8th, Tuesday, I only done 24 minutes, but 24 minutes of the Wii Fit. Like I said, I started small, and that's where I started. 24 minutes, nothing major, but it was something. I started somewhere. Then, like I said, the next day I got home and I done 76 minutes of the Wii Fit. So your girl got more active the next day. I was into it. Done over an hour, say what? But the thing about it is, now I'm not sponsored or anything, obviously, but this is not me trying to get you to go out and buy a Nintendo Wii or anything, but the Wii is something I've always enjoyed. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I did. And so I know they tried selling it and marketing as, you know, a fitness thing for your kids. And not to be a spokesperson here, but it kind of worked, you know? Look at me. That's where I started. And so it's so easy though, because the first day I only done 24 minutes. The next day I come back and done 76 minutes, because you forget you are working out when you're doing this, but you forget you're being active and doing anything because you're just playing. And it's simple as that. And so that is what really got me motivated to keep coming back. And I'm competitive against myself. Not necessarily with anyone else, but with the Wii and the sport games and the fit games you play, you know, it gives you a 1 through 10 listing or whatever. And so I'm always competing with myself, trying to beat my best score. And so that's what was always motivating me. And obviously, if you've got other people in your household that are connected to it, and you can play against them and beat their scores too, but it's just me, so I'm just trying to beat my own scores. And then there are certain ones that you find that you really enjoy, and you're like, really trying to beat that score. And then you can unlock levels and things of that nature as you advance throughout the game, and so it doesn't just get stale. And then the next day I went in, done 52 minutes, the next day 27 minutes, and then I rested on Saturday. Then Sunday I done 43 minutes, rested Monday, Tuesday, went back Wednesday with 54 minutes. Also, I was throwing in some Zumba at this time as well. I have enjoyed different, I would think I would like to do different dance classes. When I went to college, I had the opportunity to take a ballroom course. Always been interested in any kind of dance, and for whatever reason I did not get to take the ballroom course. Tragic. I really wanted to take that course. So when the Zumba craze came out, you know, I was behind it. I'm somebody, again, I restrict myself. I say I don't know how to dance. I've never tried, but I have never danced in front of anybody. Like slow dance, anybody can slow dance, but like dance, no. And so, yeah, I'm here for it. It was fun. It was something engaging. I have no issues with it. But yeah, that's all I done is I continued logging everything and making notes to keep myself accountable. And then, like I've done before over here on the columns, I had my weight that I was, like I said, 286, and I had all the different measurements left on. I have the picture going for you, hopefully, so you'll see where we started from, and let's move along and tell you where we went. By February, I was down to 277, so almost 10 pounds. And again, I'm continuing my scattered brain notes. The lines are the days I did not work out. Again, trying to keep myself accountable. I was doing really good in the beginning. 43 minutes here, 70 minutes, 56 minutes, 30 minutes, 91 minutes one day, 85 minutes. I was stepping it up. Some days I was really up into this, okay? And then again, like I said, you're not gonna see that very long, but I was journaling my notes at the time, so I'd have my frame of mind and how I was those days. You guys don't need to see that. The other ones I left intentionally, so you could pause and look. If you'll recall in part 1, I was not hiding my measurements or my weight. You could very much pause and see what it was. I'm not lying to you. Why? So by March, I got down to 262. Say what? What? Hell yeah. Okay, again, we're still doing good. You can tell in March, I kind of slacked off a little bit. I got a lot of slashes. That wasn't very good. Also, come March, in January and February, I was documenting how many days I worked out versus the days I didn't work out. By March, I kind of slacked off and stopped doing that, as we can tell. I was like, there's no point in doing that because I can see I didn't work out half the month. I don't need my documentation telling me that. But again, from February to March, I lost 15 pounds. So I done good that day. Again, we're continuing my journaling so I can let me know what kind of frame of mind I am. Spoiler alert, it's not a good frame of mind. But moving to April, I am down to 253. I'm back in the 250s. What? Now, this is the part where I started getting scared because I am down 30 pounds. I've been down, am I down 30 pounds? 50, 60, 70, yeah, down 30 pounds. I've been down 30 pounds before, and remember, I got into that standstill, so in my mind, I'm like, I don't know. Is this good? Is this not? And you can see in April, what was you doing? I wasn't documenting anymore. I wasn't writing down what I'm doing, so what was you doing? What are you doing over there scratching? Trying to make a bed. I'm trying to film a video over here, Lily. But yeah, you can see I slacked off in April. I didn't even journal my notes anymore, my frame of mind. And what did I say I was in April? 255? By by May, I was 245. So I did lose 10 pounds. So I done fine, you know. Somehow or another, I stayed on track, but I started not documenting my results anymore, talking about when I was working out. I got lazy. I told you that in a previous video. I have the frame of mind that I want to do these things, and then I get lazy and I quit documenting it. And that is where I need to get better at. So, moving into June. We're 6 months in, okay? Down to 236 pounds. I am beyond anything I could ever imagine at this point. Like, I'm not bragging about it on social media like I done that first time. No. Well, actually, no, I'm a lie. If you follow my Instagram, hello, have it linked here. But if you follow that, you got a little sneak peek of my weight loss journey before anybody else, because that is the only place I was documenting it. That is the only place, because I didn't really use Instagram at the time and didn't have many people that looked at it. And so that was kind of my accountability part right there, the putting it out there in the universe, if you will. Because I knew not a lot of people that I knew was looking at that information and could see that information. So it was like I was putting it out there so somebody would know. Maybe not anybody that I cared about knowing. Not that I didn't want anybody to know that I was losing weight. Let me go ahead and talk about this right now. It's not that I didn't want anybody to know I was losing weight. It's just I knew I had to do something for myself. It had to be my motivation, my input, me doing something consistently for myself. And obviously I'm 6 months into it. I've been exercising consistently. I am losing the weight. And so it's not that I didn't want anybody's input or their value or their opinions. It's just a lot of people, when you start losing weight, they assume you're dieting. And like I said, that's not something I'm doing. That's not something I'll probably ever do, really, because as we've done discussed, etc. And so I didn't really want nobody knowing, for the fact that I didn't want all this extra information in my ear. Whether it was coming from a good place or not, I just needed to focus on what I was doing, because obviously that was working. I didn't need somebody else coming in. And again, in the back of my mind, again, nothing against anybody else, but for me, I always think, I tend to think a little negatively about everything, okay? I'm gonna be honest. That my mind automatically goes to a negative headspace when it is in relation with my body. So in my mind, if I told anyone I was losing weight and they saw the weight loss and then I started putting the weight back on, in my mind, not that anybody would do this, because again, I have lost the weight and put it on, lost it and put it back on throughout my entire life, and nobody's ever said anything before. So I don't know why I would assume anybody would, but in my mind, my mindset was, if I fail again and don't lose any more weight again and put it back on again, in the back of my mind, everyone's gonna be looking at me like I'm a failure, and yeah, you tried, you bragged about it again, look at you, you're right back where you're at. Not that anyone would do that, I'm not saying they would, but in my mind, that was my mindset, and so that's why I didn't really talk about it. And like I said, I wasn't really using Instagram at the time, so that was like my place that I could put it where it was out there for the world, but not really, type of thing. So anyway, back into June. In June, down to 236 pounds. We go on into July. Now in June, May, I did start incorporating this new exercise thing that I bought, a CoreMax machine. It's basically like a little machine. I'll have a video of it going. But In June is when I started going to the gym. So it took me 6 months before I actually started the gym. All this weight loss, 50 pounds, was simply things I was doing at home. I was doing the Wii Fit. I was doing yoga. I was walking around my neighborhood, cleaning around the house, parking further from the entrance to doors, taking the stairs instead of the elevator. Now, not up. I'm not crazy. I'm not trying to kill myself here, but take the stairs down instead of going down the elevator, you know? Whatever little small steps. That's what I was doing. I was taking small steps and incorporating it into my everyday life. That way, it was something I would be able to do in my everyday life. And again, a lot of people say, if you don't have 30 minutes to exercise, just do 10 minutes here, 10 minutes here. Well, honestly, it does add up if you just do a little something. And so, like I said, I've been doing things at home, and then come June, I was like, okay, I am ready. I am down 50 pounds. In my mind, I wanted to start going to the gym because I wanted to start incorporating weights, because I wanted to start toning up as I was losing, because obviously I'm fat to start with. So at my age, as I'm losing, I know there is a potential for saggy skin. And so I want to try to combat that as early as I can. So I was like, I need to start going to the gym to try to tone up as much as I can as I'm losing, since I am losing now, and try to help myself here. So June, started Planet Fitness. By that time, I was really into working out. Cannot believe those words are coming out of my mouth. I was into working out. What? That is not who I am. I have never been the person that was excited to go work out. No. But here I am. I was at the point that if I didn't work out, I got like anxious, and I needed to work out to get the energy out. I was at that point. Now, also, I do want to make note that throughout this entire process and journey, all the way up till June, my food eating has been off from the way I normally eat. When January started, I don't know if it was the food thing that triggered it or whatever, I did start eating differently as well. As I started exercising, I did by default incorporate portion control. And it's not like I was actively trying to portion control myself. It's just something that happened. So as I go out to a restaurant, I halved off, like I said, my meals and took the other half to go. And over time, it was just, a lot of times, if I wasn't in the mood to eat, I was not in the mood to eat. And that physical act of chewing was like a workout in and of itself. I could not force myself to eat unless I was ready to eat. It's how it was. And so I did kind of portion control a little bit. And over time, it did get better and fix itself, and I'm back to normal now. I eat normally. But in the beginning, as I was working things through, I guess everything just wasn't synced up, I guess. I don't know, but I did portion control in the beginning by default. It's not like I was actively doing it, but it happened. So by July, I'm down to 228 pounds. Come August, I am 215 pounds. I am really happy with myself. By now, obviously, people are noticing I've lost weight. It's not something I can hide anymore at this point. People are taking notice. I am getting asked, what have you been doing? And it was probably the June or July when people took notice. And so that's when they started asking, and that's when I started saying, I'm gonna make a video about it. I am so sorry it took this long, you guys. So we go from August to September, and by September I'm down to 204 pounds. And it is at this point, I'm curious, I want to know how much I've lost to date. So from January 8th to September 9th, I was down 82 pounds, down 17% in my body fat. Again, I know that's outdated, blah, 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 shut up. Water intake, I was up 15%, and my inches lost to date was 58.5 inches overall. That is the number I was most excited for. Now, I mentioned this in part 1. I try not getting hung up on the number on the scale, and it's more about how the clothes fit and how I feel in myself and all that. So I know, because I know at the end of the day, you can have 280 pound people side by side. This one could be thin as a rail, and this one can be, you know, slightly average. It just depends on, you know, everything under the sun. Are they tall? Are they short? Are they muscular? Are they this? Are they that? I know there's 1,000 things under the sun that can make this 180 pound person and this 180 pound person look completely different. So I know number isn't something to keep a real dead eye set thing like I have to be this number. I've never had that in my mind. I have to be this number. It's more about looks to me, and how I feel is when, you know, I'll be all right with myself. These are not the right words I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. Don't take this out of the way I'm trying. Don't take it out of context. But I know, don't get hung up on the numbers, what I'm saying. So October, I get down to 201. Now, if you'll remember, September, I was 204. Yeah, 204. October, I'm only 201. I only lost 3 pounds. I wasn't putting in any effort. I don't know, but I didn't do a lot. I only lost, well, okay. See, this is what I was talking about, the number thing. I only lost 4 pounds, but I lost 5 inches that month. That's more important to me, losing 5 inches versus 5 pounds. I'm sorry. I'd rather have the inches lost. Come November, I had reached 197 pounds. I have finally got under 200. I have not been under 200 since I was like, what, 17, 18? I don't know. That may be even a stretch. I know when I was like in the 16 age, I was 170, 180. So yeah, that sounds about right. But anyway, I'm excited. I hadn't been this size in forever. So then we move into December, and I am 190 pounds, and that is where I am at today. I have the video the picture going so you can see my progress from January 8th till December. I know this video is going to probably get uploaded later than December though, so sorry this isn't current. Maybe I'll put the current stuff in post. We'll see. But yeah, that's how I managed to lose the weight. Exercise. By default, a little bit of portion control, but like I said, around end of October, beginning of November maybe, I did start getting my appetite back a little bit. Anyway, I did get the appetite back. I am starting to eat more, so that worked itself out great there. Again, I did not starve myself. I did not restrict myself, any of that. I didn't. I just started exercising because I knew that is what works for me. And so, like I said, you don't have to start at the gym. Just start with something simple. Start with something that is fun for you. That is the main thing I can stress. Find the things that interest you. For me, it was the Wii Sports. I had a blast playing that. It was the dance things. If it was Zumba, if it was just dancing around my house, listening to my Pandora, if it was parking a little further from the door, if it was taking the stairs down, you know, whatever little extra steps you can do, walking around your neighborhood, whatever you find enjoyable, start out there. Start small, making small things into your daily life, and it becomes part of your daily life. That was the big thing for me. I knew I had to find something that I would enjoy. Now, that being said, do not neglect things you don't think you're not gonna like, because in the beginning, I started the simple stuff, and then I advanced and went to the gym about 6 months later. And then I started doing the gym, and I didn't really do my stuff at home anymore because I was going to the gym. Then I got into a routine at the gym, and I could tell I just wasn't excited about going to the gym anymore. And again, that's still a wild concept, but anyway. I am somebody that has never liked the treadmill. I find it extremely boring. It bores me to tears. No, it's just not something I've ever been interested in. But I got to where I was doing the exact same thing every time I went to the gym. Like, yeah, the reps were increased and the weights may be increased, but I was basically doing the exact same machines every time I went. And then whatever popped in my head that day, I was like, let's get on the treadmill. Now, granted, like I said, I've never been a treadmill person, but I got on the treadmill that day, and it is exactly what I needed. I started running. I did not run. Do not get crazy here. I started jogging and, you know, walking and doing the incline and all that, and it is exactly what I needed. And I'm like, I'm on a treadmill? I like this today? What is this? So, you know, don't be scared to try out different things. For me, going to the gym wasn't intimidating. I've been to gyms before. A lot of people tend to do their own thing. My thing is just the uncertainty of knowing certain machines, so I just observe other people and see what they do on the machine so I can see how it works. Now I just go in and do my own thing, and everybody else is doing their own thing. Ain't got nothing to worry about. I've never had any issues. But yeah, that's where I started. Let me know down in the comments down below if you have any questions about anything. Give this video a like if you liked it, found it helpful at all. Again, I am not a nutritionist, an expert in the least. These are just things that I picked up that work for me. Till next time, I'll see you guys. Bye.